Hey y'all, let's make $1,000,000 spaghetti. All right, first we're going to start by boiling our water. We're going to add a little bit of salt to our water and a little bit of olive oil so it doesn't stick. So we're going to let that come to a rolling boil. I'm going to use spaghetti noodles. I'm going to use about half this pack. So I'm going to break them in half and boil them for about 12 minutes. Once you put the pasta in, make sure you give it a good stir so that the noodles do not stick. Alright, so for other ingredients, we're going to use about a tablespoon of minced garlic. You can use whatever kind of garlic you like. And I'm going to use a white onion, yellow onion, about a quarter of that onion. Just going to dice that fairly small. So I'm going to add a couple of teaspoons, a tablespoon of olive oil to the pan on medium-high heat. And I'm going to saute these onions for about a minute. I'm not going to put the garlic in yet because y'all know garlic cooks really fast and it can burn. I'm going to use these meatballs, but I'm going to ground them up. So I'm not going to keep them in meatball form. So I'm going to add them in and then just kind of crush them up so that it's just like a ground consistency. This is pork. You can use turkey or beef or whatever you like. I'm going to use these meatballs that are made of pork. I'm going to add in my garlic right when it's almost done cooking and just mix that in. And then I am taking my noodles to the strainer and just going to set them aside. Going to use this tomato basil garlic sauce, nothing fancy. I'm going to let that simmer with this meat. I am going to add a little bit of seasoning, but nothing too much with salt because the meatballs are already seasoned. If you use ground beef or ground turkey, you would want to add a little bit of salt. I'm going to use about a quarter of this little spaghetti packet. You could use the whole thing if you use meat that doesn't have season. Garlic powder, onion powder to your liking, a little bit of Italian season as well, and you can just taste to see your preference. I used about a half a teaspoon, I think, of each seasoning. Alright, so I'm going to mix that in really good, and then I am going to cover it and let it simmer on really low. Now we're going to make our white sauce. I'm going to use about 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to use Parmesan cheese. You can use fresh Parmesan or the dry Parmesan, either one. I'm going to start with maybe half a cup. I don't want to put too much because sometimes you can overdo it and it can get kind of gummy. I'm using about a cup of that heavy whipping cream. I'm going to stir that in and let everything melt down. And then it should be at a little kind of, you don't want it too runny. I can't really explain the consistency. You'll see in a second. And if you feel like it's too watery, add a little bit of cheese, a little more cheese, but add it in slowly because once it sits, it will thicken up. I'm also going to add some salt and black pepper, just a pinch of salt, as much pepper as you like. I like things kind of spicy, so I add a little extra. Like that is a good consistency, so I'm just going to add in the noodles now, and I want to leave a little room where it's a little soupy kind of. I don't want it to be more noodles than the sauce, so it can have time to bake. So I'm going to add in almost all of the noodles I used, but I didn't need all of them. So that's mixed in, and here is our red sauce. Now, when you marry this white sauce and this marinara sauce or pasta sauce, the red sauce, it takes it up a level. I've made spaghetti and I don't know, this is my second time making this and I am in love. When you mix the red and the white sauce, yeah, chef's kiss for sure. So I'm just going to stir these two together. Hey, by the way, please like and share and comment to my video. It really helps the algorithm if you like it and comment. I really appreciate it. We're going to add this in the oven. We're going to bake for 350 for about 30 minutes, 25 minutes. Just check it every 15 minutes. So we're just going to put this pasta into a dish that's kind of deep, so you can kind of cut it like a pie. So I'm just going to fill this all the way up, and then I'm going to top it with some cheese. So I am going to use some triple cheddar cheese. You could also just use Parmesan or mozzarella, whatever you prefer, but I like this cheese. So I'm going to add this over the top, and then I am going to put a little bit of paprika just for some color. Sprinkle that on there, and a little bit of dried parsley for a little bit of color also. And again, I'm going to bake this uncovered on 350 for about 30 minutes, 25 minutes. And in we go. And look at this, it's just bubbling, and it's so good and cheesy and flavorful. I need to make this more often. I hope you guys enjoy. If you try the recipe, let me know. They call it $1 million spaghetti, and I totally believe them. Talk to you guys later. Bye.